What is going, guys? My name is Seats, and welcome to Feeds Mindset episode number 5 with the wonderful man, Reprocity, man. I can't believe you're here, man.
That
What's
was a
going
fucking
on?
that was a gas intro. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm good, man. Just got off the toy a little bit. Got out of a winners finals match, and figured I'd come stop by, say what's good.
Yeah, awesome, man. I appreciate your time, genuinely. This is like a spur of the moment thing. We was talking about this like an hour ago. I didn't think it would lead to us having a conversation. I thought it'd be like a few days down the road. If you don't know Reprocity, if you are any at all invested into the COD professional scene, Reprocity is a player amongst all the boards. He's been to so many events. I think he went to Toronto not too long ago.
Yeah, I went to I actually got flown out to the last event. Wasn't a major, but that was a Bell Fiber Canada thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that was an all expenses paid trip. Just got
So
flown out to
sick.
a nice hotel and got to go play at an expo on stage and everything, and had an absolute blast.
Yeah, so sick. So if you're not invested into the Call of Duty scene, I know that you probably won't know him that much. But Reprocity is such a sick, genuine man,
Thank
and
you.
I truly, genuinely believe if he wasn't so skilled at COD, he could make it so heavily as a creator. He's so fun to watch. I was actually watching
Let's
like
go.
while you were playing, I was actually watching a highlight Twitch clip of you just like dancing, and
Dancing.
it was like music, and then you smack the fuck at the camera. It
Yeah,
was
I
so
do.
cool.
Yeah, I do some
But
corny stuff
yeah, so
sometimes.
Raposity is a Challengers free agent, and he is currently actually in the middle of a match right now. He's in semifinals, just won because of my good luck charm that I messaged him, and
Sure.
so he's waiting for his finals to go down. So it's a perfect kind of little cutaway. We both have free time. So yeah, again, genuinely appreciate you being here. Wanted to get all that out of the way. And lastly, before we do start, he is actually watching the losers finals right now. So if his attention is diverted to a different monitor or something, he's not ignoring me. He gives a fuck about me. I
Yeah, I'm
promise.
not an asshole. I swear.
But he's making sure that just for whatever reason nothing doesn't come up, so that way we can have a nice, genuine, good podcast. So yeah, so Reprocity, man, tell us about yourself. Where did Reprocity come from? And not even before COD. Tell me about how Reprocity even got into the gaming scene and what made you want to come here.
Yeah, absolutely. Really appreciate you having me on, by the way. So I remember the only earliest memory I have was playing COD with my dad on the PS2. Call of Duty, or not even Call of Duty, it was Medal of Honor. Those great games back in the day. I think my first Call of Duty was Call of Duty Finest Hour. And I didn't really know. I didn't really learn about esports until AW or anything. I really was just a campaign multiplayer player. I 1v1 my dad. He used to absolutely whoop my ass. And then I got to like 8 or something, and I could shoot back, and then he didn't want to play me anymore. And then my older cousins had an Xbox 360, and I would go to their house all the time, and they put me on to Black Ops 1,
Mhm.
zombies, stuff like that. And they would also 1v1 me and just absolutely destroy me. And then, a couple years go by, then I'm beating them. And then I actually came in, my stepbrother, who's O Dubs, S and Dubs. If you guys watch any S&D BO4 channels, he plays them every day. Very talented guy, but he introduced me to esports, and he's the real reason I'm here, honestly. And ever since then, I was playing CMG tournaments, in BO3. I think that was my first ever like online tournament win. Um, when I was 11, maybe 10. So ever since then, it's just been love at first sight. I mean,
Gotcha.
I've played sports and it's just not as fun. I don't know what it is, but just
Yeah.
competitive gaming is
Yeah,
blast.
that's sick. I'm glad. I'm glad that that's all worked out for you. So obviously now streaming for you isn't something that's a mainstream. It's more of either a pastime or for your money cam, so people don't accuse you of cheating. Blah blah blah.
Right.
What? How did that happen before? Was you ever a streamer before you were a COD player?
I never got into streaming. I that's kind of a lie. I tried to stream when on my PS4 back in the day, and then I wanted to start streaming more during Cold War, and it never really took off. I mostly only streamed because I had to on CMG and stuff like that. But I will say that the one year I actually tried to grind streaming was Vanguard last year, and that was a lot of fun because I didn't have challenger events to worry about and cups to wake up for. Streaming leagues and streaming chows, that was some of the most fun I had, and I do regret kind of not doing that this year, and that's hopefully something I'll go get back into because it's just a lot of fun to interact and have fun while you're playing. But yeah, streaming took a big backseat for me this year. So it kind of sucks. I stepped away and
Yeah.
yeah, lost
This
some subs.
seems kind of like a happy medium. Like you had to lose something to gain something. I mean, it
Yeah,
seems like you're doing fairly well. There's tons that I want to talk about, but I want to stay on topic. Real
yeah,
quick for my last question that I really had about your background and stuff, like where did Reprocity come from? Like
Yeah.
Reprocity, like where did that come from?
So actually, I used to be Nova Phase 7 for many years. Like that was my thing, and then I was Nova Phase until BO4 when I finally got bullied by enough people, and I think I got kicked out of an eights lobby because of my name.
Really?
So I was like, I gotta change my name. I went through a little phases before that of trying to change it. I never liked any, and
Hmm.
at the time, Reciprocity was a huge team, so I figured I would steal their name but then change it slightly. That's really what I did. It wasn't
So
that
you're a
creative, but
copyright trademark,
yeah,
is what you're telling me.
yeah. And then after a while, people called me Rep. I mean, and then so I just I changed it to Rep now. On anything that I can change it to, I will change it to because it just kind of is easier to roll off the tongue and it fits on a jersey better.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's sick. Yeah, Repus is such a super, good name. It's a common name that I call you. I mean, we've
Yeah,
been friends for a good minute, but obviously we're not like super super connected. And I mean, I'll
right.
still call you Rep right off the rip.
Yeah,
Rip.
Rep.
And
Yep.
so, um, but yeah, man, that's so sick. That's so insane. That's a really cool backstory. So streaming didn't really work out. You got into COD, you started being competitive and stuff.
Yeah.
When did it start sinking in? Like, when was like, yo, Rep, like, GG's, man, you're a fucking sick player. When did it start being like, this could be
This
for
could be
me?
it. Um, I never really had success before MW 2019. And that was the year where I actually felt like my COD skills start to come out. And I mean, they're still on my Twitter feed, but I have like some of the most insane clips still cannot recreate that like to this day when I was like 14. And what really did it was I played a little bit of challengers here and there, and I played pro points in MW, and I was with pickup teams. And I'll never forget it. We made a run and the LCQ for champs for the
Hmm.
MW 2019, and we made it through like 3 or 4 rounds.
Wow.
And we played Dan Ghosty and like QPan and them for top 16 to make it on stream, and we lost. But I fried, and that was what really showed me. I was like, and I mean, now I'm looking around, and like Ghosty was on Optic this year, and being 14 and dropping 30s and 15s and S&Ds against that name. I mean, I think that was the first time I was like, okay, I could do something with this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, I couldn't imagine, man. Like, obviously, I mean, I know that you probably still have so much farther that you want to go.
Yeah,
And I know that you probably would never, say that you've like made it by any means, but you've clearly got a fan base. Like, a lot of people know
yeah,
you. Have you had fan interactions when you go to these events like Toronto and stuff? Have you had
yeah.
random people come up to you like,
Oh
yo,
yeah.
Rep, like, GG's?
It's caught me off guard, and I really what was super fun in Vanguard was just getting a following and getting that fan base was
Mhm.
was just surreal to me because I just couldn't comprehend why people would support me in a way like it's great because when the losses suck, but then when you get a message from someone, keep your head up.
Yeah.
That's the best feeling. And I actually like signed like my first autograph in
Oh,
Toronto, and that was like the most surreal. Like I almost was in tears. I was like, this is the craziest feeling ever. Like I never thought that I was like that. Like I don't know. So it's really awesome to see just how caring the community can be.
man.
Obviously, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely what you make of it. And, for the record, not really trying to make you feel any better, but if we did ever meet up in real life, I'd ask for your fucking autograph. So, you know,
that's no problem. Hey, that's why you're a goat feeds. This is why you're the goat
Is
feeds.
that- um, so, let's talk. We talk about fan base and your background and getting into COD and stuff. You're established off of your skill, of course, but you're in the moment where you're like, you went around and you get up like the big one that's, I think it's either pinned or really close to your Twitter feed about how somebody had dumped you for somebody else to play on a team and you ended up
Yep.
going against them on stage and beating
On
them.
stage,
Walk me through that.
yeah.
What happened there?
Before Texas, 4 days before the event, I got dropped on a roster. And all my flights were booked and everything was non-refundable. And they ended up placing top 48. I ended up placing top 48. So I was really pissed off still that I got dropped for no reason.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, we met in Toronto on stage, and it was funny because Conwa is someone that I'm not an enemy with by any means. Great dude, but it's funny when we get on the other team, we kind of get loud because we're both
Hmm.
loud players. And after the first match on stage, I don't know if it was on stream or not, but Conwa specifically stood up and took his headset off and just started screaming at me.
Oh
And
wow.
I burst out laughing because I just think getting shit talk's the funniest thing ever. And I literally was like, I'm not letting you win. Now it's
Yeah.
over. And I proceeded to go like 15-5 like the next map, and it was just a lot of fun. And I love trash talking, but I think it's just fun and like it's funny. I don't take it too serious. There's definitely people that do, but yeah, there was definitely some bad blood on my end, at least.
Yeah.
Walking on that stage.
Is there moments like, do you get heated the moments where you get locked in, or do you feel like you're locked in the whole time? Like, do you like when a fire gets set on you, does that change your momentum,
Yeah.
or do you feel like you have that the whole way through?
It's interesting. It's like it's the thing I've noticed about events is like I come into events as almost as different people. I have like different game, if that makes any sense.
Right.
The last Toronto event, the Bell one that we got second at, that was me just straight up trolling. Like I don't think I was fully locked in, but I was still frying. It was a hell of a lot
Hmm.
of fun. But that event where I got yelled at on stage, that's like I'm demon mode time. I'm not a teammate anymore. I'm running around the map and killing as many people as I can.
Yeah.
So it's not always the best, but in that case it works because it just makes me want to win even more. And once I get that like fiery eyed look, I'm not really common. I'm killing everything.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, that's good. It's always good to have a flip switch because, in a way, it's kind of back then. It's not really talked about now because of how controversial the whole world is about so many different like particular things. But back then it would be called like secret weapons. You would have a certain
Yeah.
player that'd be doing bad, and you'd be like, fuck you, you're so
Fuck
shit,
you.
blah 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 blah, and then
Yeah.
like flip over and
Yeah.
be like, bam bam
Yeah.
bam, knocking everybody out. So how old would you say that you was when you first started getting into it, and how old are you now?
So I'm 18. This is my first year competing in challengers, and my first year playing comp. Yeah, that was. I honestly don't think ring play is comp, so it had to have been BO3, and that was
Mm.
2015. So I was 11. And yeah, that's where I won my first UMG when UMG was still around. Actually, I think we played Illy at one point. Excuse me. But not in that tournament. But I like yeah, I played against like all like the S&D kids when I was like 11, and like
Yeah.
I won one. That was it. But yeah, I think that was the wake up call. Like that, there's a whole world out there that you can play for money.
So I know you're proud of your achievements, and obviously you're acknowledging where you've came from and stuff. Is there anything that you would tell young Reprocity, now being at where you are versus the path, which I know that by saying the path is by no means where you end because you have
Right.
great intentions. We've talked a little bit about it, and we will here shortly. But is there anything that you would wish that you would have done differently, or do you feel like things are just fine how they were?
Yeah, I don't really regret anything. I wouldn't really change anything either. I mean, it's a horror. Gaming is not linear. Never. It's just like anything. It really just is ups and downs. The only advice that I would ever tell myself is to just don't get attached to teammates because you just never know. And that's the one thing that I would probably let myself know is that this year in Challengers has taught me is just don't trust people. don't
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, that could obviously apply to anywhere. I mean, streaming most definitely. I mean, you
Oh
could
yeah.
have tons of people that you stream and you host them and rate them all the time, and then they could turn out to be, some wild accusation or they do you
Yeah.
over something. It is sad to see. But at the same time, it is kind of life experiences. Like a lot of people, like when I go to jobs or like, even people like ask me yo, feeds, like, tell me a time you made a mistake, and I'm like, in a non-cocky way, like I don't make mistakes because mistakes to me are careless and things that people don't care about, and
Yeah.
I always
Exactly.
care. So it's a learning experience for me because I wouldn't make a mistake if I knew better.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody determines it differently. Um, but yeah, I'm super stoked, how you've
Well said.
gotten your career and stuff and how all of that has kind of panned out for you. I'm really, I know we've only known each other for a little bit about, a year, maybe a little bit
Yeah.
longer than that. But I'm obviously super proud of you. You've
Thank you.
made a, huge front on your media pages on all these other teams and stuff. And if there's a
Yeah.
team for whatever reason watching this right now, man, like you're missing out. Like
Yeah.
you for real are,
Yeah, I
man.
appreciate
Like
it, man.
he's definitely the best player I know, and this is by no means wholeheartedly me like highlighting you or anything. Like truly and genuinely, you have such a skill based and kill switch that I've never seen before, and it's just amazing to be able to see you turn up, see the Twitter clips and stuff, and also see your interactions when people take pictures of you. When you're on the stage and stuff. It's
Yeah.
always cool because you never see people be wholesome online, and
Yeah.
then when you go in person it's completely different. So you being somebody like that is that's really what stands out, and I don't think a lot of people really see that, and maybe you don't even notice that as much. But definitely, obviously I've not met you in person, so I can't
Yeah.
speak like on the fact, But seeing all the clips and all the footage and the videos and VODs and stuff of you being on main stage in front of actual people versus behind the screen, you're the same person. And
Yeah.
I think you need to realize that, because that's a huge quality about yourself, to be proud of.
Yeah, I really appreciate the kind words, and yeah, that's something that I always hated about gamers. It's just they're always it's always a different person when you meet them majority of the time, and it's kind of sucks a little bit. And I hate it. I think you're there, you're in another wherever you are. For some people another country. I mean, you're in another state. Go have fun. Just like go
Yeah.
fucking chill. Like there's no reason to be an asshole or it's kind of lame.
Yeah, 100%. So obviously, going back from your past, you had COD, all the private matches with your family and stuff, and getting through there. Is there like a favorite game that you got into, or like a good series that you played, off the record of COD, like before all that? Like what is Reprocity's favorite moment, not being a professional at all and just in your room alone having a good time? Like what makes, where's that memory lie?
Yeah, I think the most like nostalgic best memory I can think of would just be playing at my cousin's house on their Xbox like until like 2 a.m. on Black Ops 1. My favorite Call of Duty of all time, by the way.
Mhm.
I love Black Ops 1. So like I play it now to this day. That's like my nostalgia game. Um, but I'd definitely go with that. I mean, it just doesn't get much. Nothing tops that to me. I
Yeah.
really can't think of anything better.
Yeah, and that's good, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, my favorite Call of Duty is COD Ghost.
Ghost, really?
It's a very controversial one for a lot of people.
No, you know what? I don't think so. The campaign was amazing.
Campaign was definitely amazing, and that's kind of a good topic to lead into, because I think I've already said this before, but it's really no big deal. So how I got in, I think I was 14 at the time, and that's when my parents had first given me and my brother an Xbox, and I had GTA and COD Ghost and a couple other games or whatever. But I'm pretty sure when I turned 15, they finally was like, okay, like you can have Xbox Live. And at the time,
Oh,
I had a couple good friends on GTA 5, so I played that for 3 or 4 months. With Call of Duty Ghost, I absolutely loved the campaign, and the one
yeah.
where you're on a plane and the dude's tied up and then he falls
Yes.
off the plane and you all go into the woods and you're in your ghillie suit with a knife trying to take people out. Absolutely loved that fucking mission.
You're in
And
space.
so
There's a space mission. What
yeah.
the fuck?
No, I like that one more, man. It was more like satisfying, like to be
Yeah.
so stealthy. Space is cool, Markiplier. But but being able to go through that, I played a lot of the campaign, and there was just one day I got bored. I played GTA for a little bit, kind of got bored, whatever, and so I played COD. And I had noticed where it said multiplayer, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah,
Had
what's up,
no
man?
idea, and so I clicked on it, and that's when I got into search and rescue. I was a huge,
Oh,
like, obviously now like search and destroy is normalized and stuff, but
right.
I was disgusted by search and destroy when I first joined the game, because not only the fact of being able to be brought back, but it was also kind of more of a backpack on yourself to bring others back.
Other people back,
And
yeah.
search and rescue with the dog tags and sliding over them, or like trying to like dolphin dive to
Oh,
grab a
yep.
tag. It was just so nostalgic. And for me, when I got into COD, I eventually, a couple months down the road, I got into sniping, loved it, loved the reactions
Oh,
and
yeah.
all that. And there was this little dumb fucking community clan around that was called XGN, Exile Gaming Network. And they was just a dumb community clan that would just go and find people that was good at the game. And they'd be like, hey, like, join our clan. We do dumb meetings. We give you stupid ranks and blah, blah, blah. Whole thing was stupid. But at the time, as kid me, it was sick.
This is a
And
sick
so
thing, yeah.
the reason why all of this matters and why COD Ghost will be, I have cool clips in COD Ghost, tons of triple collats. I even have a really, really nice quad collat that I hit, and that's Call of Duty Ghost really solidified, drop zone and sniping and clips and feeding. Like that's where
Yeah.
all of that started for me, and so that's where my childhood and kind of why that's my favorite game. But
Yeah.
there was one day, XGN, some random fucking dude reached out to me and it was like, hey, 1v1 me. If you beat me, you're in. I was like, fucking bet. Easy.
Yeah.
So I 1v1 him and I beat him. And a part of the clause to beating him was they gave me a $15 Microsoft points, whatever thing. And it was
Really?
like, you get to change your name, but it has to have XGN in your name. And
Oh.
my alias before this was Random Gamer with 4 sevens. And so that was just, it was just, I didn't know what the fuck to call myself. So I was like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so they gave me that, and they was like, you got to think of a name for yourself, and it has to have XGN. And I was, at like, kid me, like, I was excited, but like thinking about it now, like, I was kind of obligated because I wouldn't be able to change it in the first place if it wasn't for them,
Wasn't for them, yeah.
to give me that. Plus, I was a kid, so I had no money. And so I was like, man, I was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, I love sniping. I love seeing my name in the kill feed. And so that's just where I came up with feeds. I was like, I
Feeds.
love the reaction. I love seeing my name multiple times in the kill feed. And I absolutely love when people called me out, especially like fast forward now. Like I know it's kind of like really pushed forward, but like I mean, you've seen my ranked clips and
I
stuff
was
that I
gonna
do
say,
with
yeah,
the
your rank
sniper.
play clips, yeah.
And that kind of stuff, like even going all the way back to when I was 15, like it's all the same. Going into a lobby, put the fucking sniper down, your dog shit, whatever, and then the game's over and I beat him, and I'm talking hella shit and be like, you've not met bitches like me, And so it's so cool, and so that's kind of what got me into the name feeds and how kind of my come up was as far as that. So yeah, Call of Duty Ghosts will always hold a special place in my heart. And honestly, if I had to pick a unrelated COD, and it's going to be a COD that I think you personally will like it. I don't think the community will. Is Black Ops 4.
Yeah.
Black Ops 4. I figured you personally would like it, but it has not a lot of people like Black Ops 4 at all. It had a lot of hate, and I really like 3-4 months in, I seen the player base fall down so hard. But I loved it because that's actually, being the name feeds and doing what I do. That was the game where I was like at my peak. I was hitting all the 6-ons. I was the kid that you never wanted to play. I would drop 60, 70, 80 every single game. I would always do my Twitch streams. I even have a reaction one time. I was using the Locust Elo site on I can't remember if they still called it Grind. It was the map Grind, like the remade one from BO2.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if they kept the name. I can't remember it. But I had the Locust Elo, and I hit my first ever 5-on head with a little dumb PlayStation 4 camera, and I was like, oh shit! I was like hyped up, and I had like my LED lights was like going in the background. I was like, yeah. So sorry, I got fucking pit stains. It's hot as shit in my room. But I was so excited. But yeah, so if I really had to choose an enjoyable COD, it definitely would be Black Ops 4. COD Ghost is just more so because of the past and everything. But Black Ops 4 really made my mark. And for anybody that's watching, if you go on YouTube and search up Feeds Best of BO4, it'll be the best 4 minutes of your life that you've watched. And I swear to God, I am the best BO4 sniper you've ever seen. I promise you. But yeah, it's really sick being able to get into that scene, especially sniping and stuff. I've always wanted to go, pro and obviously like you and stuff. It's always been a thought in my mind and always been cool. But I had got a PC, I think about 3 years back, and got heavily invested into KBAM, and nobody allows it. And I was like, man, I love keyboard and mouse. It wasn't enough. I feel like I do have the competitive factor. I mean, like you said, you've seen my stuff that I do in ranked and sniping and all that stuff. And I love doing that, but the fact of having to relearn all of that again on a controller years after putting all that down and behind me, because Black Ops 4 was the last COD that I was on controller-wise before I switched over to PC. Because as soon as Cold War and Shit Guard both came out, I hated both the games. I didn't like them. That's when my Valorant phase started. And that's when I really got into that and PC and KVM and stuff. So I don't have any regrets. I wish that cheating wasn't so much as it is today. Because I feel like there's so many good, genuine people that could have an attempt like myself at, keyboard and mouse, and they're just pulled away from it,
Yeah. No, you're disgusting with the sniper. I would totally believe that you were the best BO4 sniper. I would 100%, because and BO4 was amazing for sniping. Like that game was incredible for sniping. The Paladin, right, and the Koshka.
Yeah.
That was I actually want to look up that montage you have now. Now I want to see it. 'Cause I believe you. I wholeheartedly believe you.
I won't spoil it for you, but yeah, it was such a sick time, and being able to go, and then I came from Valorant. I'm upset because I didn't want to go pro in Valorant. I knew that I could, but not only the fact that there's so many sweats there, but Valorant is such a heavy aim-trained game, and the level of skillness is just something that I would truly have to come home every day and practice, and I just don't have that time. And CS:GO, I never liked. I just never got this. I never got the satisfaction getting a kill. I couldn't even tell sometimes when I would get a kill. It was just annoying to me, and everybody going crazy about all the skins and the cases and stuff and just taking away from the game. It just wasn't really for me. But yeah, so getting into all that, it was huge for me. And with Valorant, I was about a year on that, and I think I only got to like Plat, which Plat's a good division, but it's not like in as far as skillful wise, like that's not something somebody would deem as skillful. But having all of that experience, and then when MW2 dropped, that's around the time. So they started doing, which I know you wasn't really a part of. I think I'd actually asked you once about a tournament that you just wasn't available for. But they started doing competitive sniping tournaments, which was just dudes going in and you get PC checked if they'd ask, and you just go in and just see who's the best
Have some
sniper.
fun.
And
Yeah.
I competed in so many of those. Unfortunately, never really won anything. I did win one thing, but it was back in Black Ops 4. It was a montage challenge, kind of like
Oh
the
shit.
old
Yeah.
clans and stuff.
Hell yeah.
I
Oh
was
my
in a
god.
I was a part of a the profile picture with me wearing my Prime District jersey.
Yeah, yeah.
That team, rest in peace to them, they ended a long time ago.
Oh.
That was a team we competed in a montage challenge. It was called it was like TRC or like Rose Clan or something. They had just threw up a challenge. I think it was like for like $100. And we played, I think, a total of I think there was like 12 teams in it, and we ended up winning, based off our clip standards and stuff. So that was really cool.
That is really cool.
But I've never
Hell
won
yeah.
anything like as far as like when it came down to solely me. Which is a little bit unfortunate, but I mean, to each their own.
Yeah.
But when MW2 dropped, that's when sniping tournaments was so heavily invested, and I always wanted to be a caster. I always knew that I could. Always knew that I could, kind of entertain, which is, oddly enough, why we're in the podcast.
While we're here, yeah.
But when MW2 dropped, I had the perfect opportunity to be a caster because of how much it was going on, and I kind of. I don't regret it, but I did let my ego get a hold of me because I was like, I know that I can do well with the sniper, but I can't do them both at the same time.
Yeah.
And I had full fun with it. I don't regret it, but if I had to do it over again, I would be intrigued to see if I choose, plan B and see how that went.
Yeah.
So that's really how I got into sniping and stuff, and I loved it wholeheartedly. And I think COD is a great game. I think more so. I feel like people forget where COD comes from, and it's all about standards and PC checks and all the money and everything. And people forget that it started out as an escape.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think when people normalize that, I feel like you can honestly find your motivation again when you can get it through your thick skull that you actually started to play the game to have fun, not to impress people. And realistically, with this whole conversation, that kind of was it was like that a little bit for me. I loved being feeds and people knowing that when I come in lobbies, that I'm going to be reliable.
Snipe guy.
But I do I feel like I didn't take that away from myself, because even though like I'm happy with all the cool things that people say about me, at the same time, I still had fun the whole way through it. So it still, to me, it still wasn't like I'm playing it to, make somebody think that I'm cool. And so that, fast forward all the way back to, you and what we was talking about, how you're humble and offline and humble, online. I feel like that same rule applies. I don't feel like you take anything else for granted. I feel like you're the same through and through. Is that something you're happy that you've kept that same motive throughout the whole way?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have the same mindset. I mean, I think it's just like you're doing something that you love. Like it's just fun. I mean, in my case, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I mean, it just is what it is. But I'm always just grateful because I am in Boston, and I'm walking down the streets of Boston, and I'm like, dude, I just fucking flew to Boston to play video games. I mean, like that shit's so goofy. Like it's so dumb. I love it. So I don't take it. If you take it too serious, you're right. It drains it. It's not fun anymore. It's just when you take it solely as like an incredibly hard job or whatever, when it really isn't, it doesn't, it's not what's the right word? It's not passion anymore. It's just a job.
Yeah. So obviously on your profile and your social media, your dad seems to follow you a lot. It seems like you have a pretty good relationship with him.
Hell yeah.
How did your parents feel knowing that, let's say the very first time you finally had an all expense paid for you to go and compete for whoever? How was that breaking the news to them and that sinking in for them? Like, this is really my fucking
This
son?
is something. Yeah. My dad has always been an incredible supporter, and ironically, my one local win in Vanguard, it was on Father's Day, and my dad was there watching me play. So he broke down in tears as soon as I won. So he's always loved. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to cry shit, but he's always loved video games, and he's a full-hearted supporter. My mom hated it and despised it and thought it was a waste of time. Until I won that event is when she turned around. But I mean, yeah, like this last Bell Canada one, I mean, she was crying when I got back. I mean, she's
Really?
like it really, yeah, as soon as they see money, as soon as she saw
Yeah.
money, and I'm like, hey, I just won like a $2,000 league. She's like, what the fuck? What do you mean you just won $2,000?
I mean, it's fair though, because they come from such a different
Different
background, so it's a heavy attitude adjustment. 100%.
No, absolutely. I never blamed her at all when I'd show her. As soon as she saw that I was making money and saw the pros and their stages and stuff, it clicked.
Yeah.
But before that, she was like, "Get off the damn game."
Yeah, that's super sick. Well, I'm glad that we've been able to kind of get to know about you and your past and your come up and your thoughts and opinions. So let's talk about now going forward. So obviously you're a Challengers free agent, but the new
Yeah.
COD is about to drop in like what, like a month is when the new COD comes out.
It's a good question. It's September 3rd. Yeah, it is in October.
I can't remember. Either way,
Shit, I
it's
don't remember either.
anywhere between 2 months. So obviously, I know that you probably have some more plans coming up. I mean, you're currently in an event right now, and hopefully all that goes
Yeah.
well.
Thank you.
But what are your plans after? I know we had a prior conversation where you said, I don't really want to think about after, but you have to have some type of understanding of at least the next game you're coming into, because realistically, obviously MW2 is not going to die for a long time. It's still going to be there. But for the comp side, it's clearly comp has always moved over a new game. And unless if a game truly sticks, like Valorant or League of Legends, like unless if a game is like super there, it's going to fall off, and you have to of that experience and everything that you gain, you have to adapt. So do you have any intentions or plans with the new COD coming up, and how do you feel about having, you're not really letting anything go with the old COD, but you still have to adjust to the new settings and all that.
New movement. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't really want to think about a new team. My new idea going into this year is I want to just team of 3 cracked kids, like individuals. I think the mistake I really made this year was looking for, veterans or leader experiences, and I think that kind of costed me in the end. So I think that this year, with I think Sly Cancel's coming back and everything, I just think I want 3 just fucking demons, and then we're just gonna figure it out. That's my goal. And they're having a kickoff in Columbus. I plan on going to that. Currently with me, Sparks Kev, Kyle Aspect, and Louis Sovereign. 3. Shout out to them, cracked like U18ers that are up and coming. So I mean, hopefully that goes well. I mean, honestly, that's really my goal. I don't know any names in particular yet, but demons. That's all I got, honestly.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's glad. Are you excited that all of that's coming up, or do you feel like you're a little bit nervous that that could be a change for you?
I think I'm just gonna lean on the side of excitement because it's unknown. I mean, I've been trying to avoid keeping myself updated on the next game as much as possible, as stupid as it sounds.
Yeah.
But I just genuinely am enjoying not having to worry. Like, it's just fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely understand that for sure. But at the same time, you do have to have that little bit of step back. I think a couple months ago that would have been fine, and I would never say anything. But I feel like now it's kind of closer than you think. So it's not a bad thing. Not wanting to think about it. It's kind of, you're more so doing yourself a favor, because you have to have some type of plan or idea. And you don't want to make it worse for yourself. There could be some game breaking news that comes out, and like something stupid like fucking sound equality, like no sound equality, and if you do it, you're banned on anything, and then you use it, and then you're done for. Like, obviously that's a hypothetical thing, but like you have to still kind of be somewhat knowledge and based on that kind of stuff that you get into. So yeah, I mean, realistically, I think the last thing that I wanted to talk about, mine and yours, kind of relationship that we had. Rest in peace to Eminence Gaming.
Eminence, yeah.
Rip that team, man. It was unfortunate, is what it is. I don't like getting into drama, so it all ended there. But we had some sick plans. Obviously, we can talk about it now because it's long gone. But me and the owner, I don't want to say names because, again, I'm it's in the past. But we had a guy. What was his name? I can't think off the top of my head. Who was the coach that was going to represent you guys? Do you remember?
Killa.
Yeah, Killa, or like Killa Sloss. Yeah.
Yep.
Sick man. And I remember me and him being in a Discord with him and talking about it, and all of it was setting in, and it was just so real that this dude was going to make a change. And now I think he's already came out. I think he's already doing some stuff now. And he's back into something, so it's not really like bad news or anything. But it was really cool being able to know that was a possibility, and it was, and things just fell through because they just weren't handled the right way. And so that's how that had kind of came in, and I, that was your first impression of me, was me like hounding him, like, put me in this chat, and he was like, dude, like, they don't know you, they don't care about the team, they're just playing for us and trying to get us some wins. And I was like, I don't give a shit. I was like, I want to know everybody. And I came in and I was like, yo, like, I'm Feeds. I was like, the next time you guys play, I want to be in Discord and just talk to you guys. And that's kind of how it all started out. Started popping into your streams. We've talked a little bit here and there. And like I said, I am, super stoked that I got to meet you and stuff. And, would I think that it would lead to this? No. But at the same time, like I said, your path, it really doesn't seem like it's far from done. So I can't really say that I'm excited to be here because I'm more excited to see what happens,
Yeah.
after you turn everything around. And I don't want you to feel like you got a weight on your shoulders or anything. But I would definitely say I don't know how much realization you have, but after checking into your socials, your streams, and everything that everybody says about you, you truly have a lot of people behind you, and I
Yep.
want you to realize that because I don't know how much you do, but I feel like you have a lot more. I know you probably don't like using the term fans, but you have a lot of people
Yeah.
behind you more than you realize. And so knowing that, not in a sense of like pressure, like it's all on me, but the fact that there's so many players out there that are insane, even quote unquote, obviously better than you, that's made it
Yeah,
more
absolutely.
successful and stuff. And there's people that didn't have that support.
Not at
And
all.
that's all because of the way that they portrayed themselves. It's not the
Right.
fact that they're not good to be supported. So I think for you, it's very, very important that you obtain, your humbleness and everything that you have, because not only your, whatever happens in your next life, a team that reaches out to you, a contract that you end up signing, like regardless of whatever happens, you always have to stay in that same mindset of I can't
Yeah.
change who I am, because if I do, I could lose opportunities that, clearly for the past couple of years, you've been nothing but gaining opportunities, gaining and
Yep.
gaining and getting things and going to Toronto and doing all these cool stuff and having all these cool photo shoots and stuff. And obviously, a huge thing, your family being able to share that with them too. It's such a surreal moment, I feel like, for you. And so it's not really to point at you and say don't forget these things. It's just remember that those are the more important things, to
Absolutely.
all of this. And knowing that Reprocity 2 years from now would be the same exact guy that's sitting
Yeah.
in front of me, I know that you would fucking kill it.
I really appreciate that. And yeah, it's been a trip. I mean, I'm just trying to think like, it, I actually got recognized this year for like the first time in like rank play lobbies, and
Mm-hmm.
that was the most insane thing to me. Like
Yeah.
I literally broke down in tears one time because the gentleman like genuinely was just like, I've been fucking watching you all year, blah blah blah. Like you, and I was just like, how do you know me? I don't understand. Like I'm a challenger's 18-year-old. I'm not. I'm a
Yeah.
nobody. And it was the weirdest thing. And yeah. I mean, ever since Vanguard, it's been mind numbing to just see the messages I get after events and stuff, and the people I've met, I'll never forget, and I can't thank them enough. And
Yeah.
it doesn't add pressure to me. It makes me more motivated because I mean, I just like I want to make these people proud. I want to be able to get on that main stage and win a chip and just be like, y'all fucking were there and
Yeah.
supported me since day one. All of you,
Yeah.
you're the OGs.
Yeah.
So
And man, who knows? Who knows, man? Maybe, and I don't want to get you like too much into your head, but maybe that does happen. And you look back at
yeah,
this dumb fucking podcast of watching yourself, and you're like,
hell
man,
no.
that was me before I had a ring on my finger. You don't
Exactly.
you
I'll
don't
play the
know.
shit on main
You
stage.
know?
Be like,
Yeah,
look,
like,
me and
bees,
Bees
I'm
were
back.
here.
Yeah.
I love that. That's
So
exactly
yeah.
what I'm trying to do.
So two more questions before we end off here. Obviously, as you said many times, you are 18 and you're a challengers player. How does that feel to you, knowing that people at your same level are like close to a decade older than you? How does it feel being 18 going into and quote unquote frying kids that have more experience or just took experiences later than they should have?
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, my original team at the start of this year, they were all like old fucks. Like they were all like 23. Like
Respectfully.
yeah, I mean respectfully. I mean, it's just funny. It's a trip. Like I don't know. It's a weird dynamic, especially in person too. I mean, it's like a whole nother level of like maturity. It's just like
Yeah.
a 25-year-old just wants to sit in the hotel room alone and and think. And I'm like, let's party. Like where we going? Let's go out to
It's
eat.
crazy. Yeah, that's awesome, man. But I love all that for you, man. The last question I had is a very simple question. I mean, do you have anything coming up? Anything coming up? What are your, upcoming plans? Anything that you're excited about?
Literally the only thing that I would give a shout out to would just be to tune in, everyone to either tune in or just attend the opening kickoff for MW2. Shout out Chitawanga at the C Bus, Columbus, Ohio. And that was honestly it. I'm gonna drive like 8 hours and go have some fun, hopefully, and make some noise with some youngins.
Are you hoping to sign some more autographs?
That'd be dope. It's a local though, but I mean,
Yeah.
that'd be dope. If that somehow happened, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, that'd be sick. I mean, I'm super excited for you, dude. It's
I
such.
appreciate you, man.
I appreciate obviously the time for you being able to take this, because I mean you're
Hell yeah.
literally watching a losers bracket of a tournament that you're in right now. Which I know
They only
it's
finished map one.
yeah, I know that it's only, it's convenient for you because it fits your time schedule, but like hypothetically, like thinking about that, it is kind of insane because, like I said, we was talking about this not even close to 2 hours ago.
It
Just
worked
talking.
out
Like
perfectly.
I was like, man, like, do you want to be a part of the podcast? And he was like, are you free in the next little bit? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I can be free.
It just worked out, man. It fell into
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, it's so sick. So yeah, man, I'm super stoked to have you on. We hit right at the 40-minute mark. Signing
Okay,
off
yeah.
here. But it's been a good podcast. It's exactly the type of podcast that I love having. Just a simple, safe space where people can get to know you and everything. So lastly, before we end off here, where can they find you at? You know, we got your Twitters below. Obviously, everything will be in the description. Is there any other platforms you'd like them to check you out on?
I don't use anything else. I mean, honestly, just
Twitter and
follow me
Twitch.
on Twitter. Yeah, just Twitter. That's
What about
literally it.
Kick? You gonna get into Kick at all?
Dude, well, see, maybe we'll talk about this later because I don't know. Like, I don't know is there like what's the best thing to like stream on anymore? Like, I don't even know.
Yeah,
I
we
just
we can
use.
talk about it off stream, but yeah, it's insane, man. I'm stoked to be here, and you know, I'm just really thrilled and appreciative of your time being able to come on here and share your experiences. And for anybody that's from my community, anybody that has no idea who the fuck two of us are, or anybody from Reprocity's, community, I hope you guys genuinely had a wonderful time. Please go check into him. Like I said, regardless of COD, if you ever catch this man on a random fucking game for whatever reason, he is the most genuine streamer you will ever meet. And so, COD aside, he does have a personality. I swear, it's not just on the main stage. But yeah, it's been super sick, man. Thank you so much for being on, man. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Alrighty, man. Well, that has been it. Episode 5 of Feeds Mindset back to back. I hope you guys enjoyed all the content, all the videos. Check the description for all of his links and everything below. Be sure to have the noties on when we go, next time a video comes around. Thank you all so much. This is Feeds Mindset. My name is Feeds, and I'm out, guys.